4,000 text messages. That's how many times Jalen Brazier contacted his teenage cousin Zion Foster on her old phone. Messages that started innocent enough but turned into something twisted. He told her his girlfriend was jealous of her. He offered to hide her in his basement. He called himself a god. When he finally got her alone in his house while his pregnant girlfriend worked the night shift, 17-year-old Zion's phone went dead. Hours later, Jalen was at a dumpster in Highland Park. This is what happens when a predator stops pretending to be family. Sierra Milton raised 6 children in East Detroit, and Zion was her eldest. A high school senior working part-time at Detroit Wing Company, Zion carried the typical struggles of a teenager, wanting independence, testing boundaries, dealing with her grandmother's recent cancer diagnosis. She'd run away twice the year before, both times ending up at her grandmother's house before coming home. Normal teenage rebellion. Nothing that prepared anyone for what was coming. The person Zion trusted most outside her immediate family was her favorite cousin, Jalen. Once or twice a month, she'd hang out at his place. Sierra knew the routine. She'd watch from the window as Gian climbed into Jalen's white sedan. Sometimes she'd walk out to the driveway and give him a hug. Normal family stuff. Or so it seemed. Before we continue, if real-life family crime grips you, hit like, drop your thoughts in the comments, and smash subscribe with the bell so you never miss a new case on Fatal Family Network. Jalen Brazier was 23 years old, technically Zion's cousin through her former stepfather. He lived with his girlfriend Katrina and their 2 boys, ages 1 and 2. He worked, paid his bills, seemed like a regular young father making his way in the world. But Jalen had been building something else, a relationship with his teenage cousin that nobody else could see. Not even Katrina, who was too busy working midnight shifts at a manufacturing plant to notice what was happening right under her nose. The old phone Zion left behind would later reveal the truth. 4,000 messages between them. Jalen suggesting other people thought they were a couple, telling Zion that Katrina was jealous of her, offering to let her live in his basement if she needed to run away again, teaching her how to avoid police, creating a secret world between them that existed only in those texts, until January 4th, when that digital fantasy collided with reality. That Tuesday started like any other. Zion finished her shift at Detroit Wing Company and came home. She asked her mother for permission to go out. She wanted to hang with Jalen. Sierra said yes. Why wouldn't she? This was family. This was routine. Zion's boyfriend Vartez was the insecure type, the kind who screenshot his girlfriend's location. At 11:24 p.m., he captured her phone's GPS pin, right across the street from Jalen's house, a small act of jealousy that would later become crucial evidence. The doorbell camera across from Jalen's house captured more. At 11:15, Jalen's white sedan pulled into the driveway. 2 figures got out and walked into the house, 1 male, 1 female. This was impossible if you believe Jalen's timeline. He'd dropped Katrina at work for her midnight shift just before 11. She wouldn't be home until 6 in the morning. The female entering the house was Zion. Inside that house, with those 2 little boys asleep upstairs, something changed. The thousands of messages, the grooming, the fantasies Jalen had been nurturing, it all came to a head. We know Zion was alive at 12:59 a.m. because she texted Vartez those 3 letters, OMW, on my way. But she wasn't on her way. She was still in that house with Jalen, and at 1:15 a.m., her phone dropped off the network completely. No more messages, no more location pings, nothing. The neighbor's camera kept recording. At 1:41 a.m., it captured Jalen pulling his car out of the driveway. Then something odd. He backed it in again, positioning the trunk toward the backyard, away from the street, away from prying eyes. The car sat there for several minutes before driving off. It returned less than 10 minutes later. Phone data would later place Jalen at a specific location during that brief drive, the dumpsters at Highland Park. At 1:48 a.m., his phone pinged from that exact spot. When Katrina texted from work, sick and miserable from her newly discovered pregnancy, begging him to pick her up early, Jalen stalled. "You can make it, baby," he wrote at 1:30 a.m. He didn't pick her up until nearly 3 a.m. When he did, she noticed something strange, a deep scratch across his collarbone, bleeding through his shirt. The cat did it, he said. The cat had never scratched that deep before. By morning, Sierra Milton was worried. Zion hadn't come home. Her boyfriend Vartez was frantic. His messages to her went undelivered. His calls went straight to voicemail. At 8:53 a.m., he sent one final desperate text, "Are you alive?" When Sierra reached out to Jalen for help finding her daughter, his response chilled her to the bone. He hadn't seen Zion, he claimed, in years. He acted frustrated that Zion had been lying about spending time with him, said it was sneaky as hell and not safe, suggested she must be hanging out with someone else in his neighborhood. Even helpful, he recommended Sierra go to the police, but asked to be kept out of it. He told me he hadn't seen or been in contact with her for 3 years, Sierra would later say, which is impossible when you were in my drive and gave me a hug.
He told me he hadn't seen or been in contact with her for 3 years, which is impossible when you were in my driveway and gave me a hug.
East Point police initially treated Zion as a runaway. She had that history after all. The officer at the desk was blunt with Sierra. "I'm going to be honest with you. We're taking this as she's a runaway." But Sierra knew better.
The person that's over it now specifically said to us that, I'm going to be honest with you, we're taking this as she's a runaway.
She organized searches, posted flyers, spoke to media, and she kept pushing about Jalen.
We need your eyes. The police need your help.
That's right.
We need your help.
The boyfriend Vartez was pushing too, bombarding Jalen with messages, sending him the screenshot of Zion's location. Jalen's response? He sent a video of his Ring camera footage. See? No Zion. She was never there. Except the footage had gaps, convenient gaps around the exact time Zion disappeared. When police finally visited Jalen at home, he played the concerned relative perfectly.
What's going on, man? You Mr. Brazier?
Yes, sir.
What's your name, ma'am? Okay. You guys know Zion?
Yes.
Invited them in, let them look around, complained about being dragged into teenage drama. She's run away 4 times, he told them. Every time she's at some dude's house. Her mom's just playing it a certain way. It makes me so fucking uncomfortable.
Guys, just basically showing this girl was never in my house. So
We believe you, man.
and she's known to be a runaway. Like she's ran like 4 times, and every time she got some dude's house. Her mom knows this. Her mom's just playing it a certain way, and it's making me so fucking uncomfortable.
She's known to be a runaway?
Yes, I would assume you guys would know that. Not saying like you're not doing your job, I'm just assuming she would tell you the damn information.
Well, no, we know. Appreciate it. All right, guys. You enjoy the rest of your night.
The officers found nothing suspicious, but the evidence was mounting. The doorbell cameras from neighbors, the phone location data, the impossible timeline, and then came the search warrant for Jalen's car. The cadaver dogs didn't hesitate. They went straight to the trunk. They knew. 15 days after Zion vanished, Jalen Brazier walked into a police station with a lawyer friend. The 23-year-old father of 2 was ready to tell a new story. The truth this time, he claimed.
You guys mix up your weed, you roll up, you guys start smoking, you're just watching TV, just chilling?
Yeah, she's telling me about how her and mom, their relationship's a lot better than it was the last time she talked to us. And about her boyfriend, about prom, the job and everything, and how she's working on getting an apartment and everything.
Yes, he'd picked up Zion that night. Yes, she'd been in his house. They'd smoked some weed, just cousin hanging out, watching TV. She was telling him about her job, her boyfriend, her plans to get an apartment. Normal conversation. Then she got sleepy, laid her head back, and then she just died.
Now, you guys are just chilling, and that's all of a sudden she just blanks out like that?
When I got up to go get me something to drink,
Yeah.
I came back and she was saying she was tired and everything, and she laid her head back. So, okay, I'm let you go to sleep for a bit, whatever.
Okay.
And then about 15 to 20 minutes after that, I was like, okay, are you good? You ready to go home? And she wasn't responding or any of that.
Her heartbeat was very, very faint, and her breathing was like non-existent, Jalen told detectives. Instead of calling 911, instead of trying to help, he panicked. "This looks terrible. This looks very bad. I didn't know what to do, so I took her. I put her in my trunk. And I took her to Highland Park and put her inside of a trash can. And then I left."
Her heartbeat was getting very, very faint, and her breathing was like non-existent. So, and mind you, I smoked. All we had was weed, normal marijuana. So I freaked out. I'm like, okay, well, this looks terrible. This looks very bad. I didn't know what to do. So I took her, I put her into my trunk, and I put her in my trunk.
Okay.
In my car. And I took her to Highland Park and put her inside of a trash can, and then I left.
The detectives pressed him. How did he know she was dead? Did he check properly? Was he sure? "You know the difference between dead and alive, right?" they asked. "She wasn't breathing. I couldn't feel the heartbeat or anything. So I would say she was dead, definitely." Just like that.
The head's back on the couch. If she's still alive at that point, he should probably just hide or whatever, from the lead. And then you start shaking her. She doesn't wake up. You check her pulse, you said, and you can see she's not breathing, nothing like that. So at that point, what are you doing?
Freaking out.
Okay, so you're freaking out, and this whole time you've been home.
So at that point in time, we thought she was definitely dead.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, was she dead? Do you think she was dead at that point, or does she still just have faint breathing and
It wasn't anything.
there was nothing at that point?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know the difference between dead and alive, right?
I mean,
Was she
not
dead?
breathing. She wasn't breathing, so I assumed that was dead. Her heartbeat was like, I couldn't read a heartbeat, couldn't feel a heartbeat or anything. So I would say she was dead, definitely.
Okay.
His 17-year-old cousin suddenly dies on his couch from smoking weed, something millions of people do every day without dying. And instead of calling for help, he stuffs her in his trunk and throws her in a dumpster.
I want to have you show us the dumpster.
Definitely.
Because I don't want to mistake it, and I want to obviously get out there and see if she's still there, then we need to recover her, and if not, then we need to do the steps to locate where she's at. Okay? You're okay with that?
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right.
Jalen led police to the dumpsters in Highland Park, the exact spot his phone had pinged that night. But Zion was gone. Garbage trucks had already made their rounds. She was somewhere in a landfill now, mixed with tons of trash from across Detroit.
This is your dumpster. Which dumpster do you want? I'm gonna walk up to you, okay?
Yeah. It was already open.
It was already open?
Yes.
Did you close it?
Yes.
You closed it?
Yes.
Where did you park your car?
Right by it, right in front of it.
I'm sorry.
I said right in front of it.
Did you back into it or did you pull forward? So you were side by side? Okay.
They arrested Jalen for lying to police. It was all they had without a body, without a confession to murder. He'd admitted to disposing of her body, but maintained she died naturally. The investigation continued. The story Jalen told detectives kept changing. First interview: she died from smoking weed. Next day, he's back with a lawyer, and suddenly, there's a new detail. They'd taken acid, LSD. That must have killed her.
I was trying psychedelics and acid, and
Okay.
I think that's what killed her.
Do you?
The detective saw an opening, started working that angle. When you're on those drugs, you don't know what you're doing. Did you do something? It would make complete sense. It's not you. It's not Jay at that point. But Jalen wouldn't bite. He stuck to his story. She just died. No violence, no struggle. Just stopped breathing while he was getting a drink.
Did you have like a freaking momentary, didn't know what you were doing moment?
No. She also, she took a top herself.
But let me ask you this. The problem with those drugs are, when you're on them, you don't know what you're doing. I mean, that's the reason people take them, right? Did you do something when you were, because again, I'm trying to figure this out, and that would make complete sense. when you dropped acid, did you have, I'm not saying it's okay, but...
I was completely comforted. Completely. I just think, I don't know if the effect for her was positive or... Because I know it does a lot in your brain. And like,
yeah, it does a lot. I'm going to tell you right now, it makes sense to me now. It all makes sense to me. You understand that, right? Because I'm sitting here trying to figure out how this nice young guy, Jay, could ever hurt anybody. But it makes sense to me now. It's not you. That's not Jay at that point. You understand that, right?
Yeah.
If you did something under the influence, that I need to know that, because that's a big difference, and I can understand that. That I can appreciate.
Months later, he'd changed the story again. No acid. That was a lie. He felt pressured by police, he said, so he made stuff up. Now Zion wasn't on the couch anymore. She was on the floor. Every time he opened his mouth, the truth shifted like sand.
Well, I left that out about the LSD, but yeah, we both took a hit of LSD, and it must have hit her different, or hit her wrong. Did you say it bullshit? Oh, yeah. Or did he? I'm saying he's telling me that. I'm trying to say, is he telling me bullshit that you didn't say, or did you?
No, that's why I felt pressure to just throw something out there before I get out.
While Jalen sat in county jail for lying to police, the Detroit Police Department launched something unprecedented. They were going to search the landfill, miles of garbage, tons upon tons of waste from all over Detroit. 8 weeks, they estimated, maybe more. Volunteers suited up in hazmat gear. Heavy machinery moved mountains of trash. Layer by layer, they searched for any sign of Zion Foster. Her mother, Sierra, came out to watch sometimes, just standing there, hoping. Back in jail, Jalen was making phone calls. They were all recorded, but he tried to be slick about it, used other inmates' calling codes, even got hold of a contraband cell phone to text his girlfriend, Katrina. The same questions kept coming up in these calls. Any news? Anything major happening?
The most logical and possible one, right? Is that there's nothing major or new, and due to that, there's a last effort to put together any types of anything, and that's basically the most logical thing that I came up statistically. So,
I do want you to know. Keep your head up. Don't say nothing. You could be nice.
Of course. Baby, stop talking.
I know. I'm just saying.
I don't want you speaking on certain things.
The closer they got to finishing the landfill search, the more creative Jalen got with his code words. Started calling it the COVID thing, like they were searching for COVID in a landfill. After all, if we stop the COVID thing here, searching for COVID essentially.
Just relax. Today is the first, tomorrow's the second. That's what, if we stop the COVID thing in here, stop searching for COVID essentially. Usually you usually get an update before that. But actually nothing. So don't worry about that.
Think about that for a moment. If your cousin really did just die suddenly on your couch, if you really were just a panicked kid who made a terrible decision, wouldn't you want her found? Wouldn't finding her body prove you didn't kill her? But here's Jalen, relieved every time he hears there's no progress. 23 months. That's all Jalen got for lying to police. Not even the full sentence. He qualified for some boot camp program, military-style rehabilitation. 9 months later, he walked free. Sierra Milton watched the man who threw her daughter away like garbage return to his life, his kids, his girlfriend, his freedom.
What? I can admit to this and still be let free.
The police hadn't given up. While Jalen served his joke of a sentence, they kept digging. Not through trash anymore, through data. Digital breadcrumbs Jalen thought he'd destroyed. See, Jalen had done a factory reset on his phone 2 days after Zion disappeared, wiped it clean. or so he thought. But Google keeps receipts. Cloud storage remembers what phones forget. January 7th, 3 days after dumping his cousin in a trash can, Jalen Brazier sat at home Googling, "Are garbage trucks also compactors? What is the force of a garbage truck compactor? How do police get your phone history? How do you know if police are watching you? Just a panicked kid who made a bad decision? Or someone calculating whether his cousin's body would be crushed beyond recognition?" But the worst was yet to come. Investigators found more searches, months before Zion died. Searches for pornography with very specific terms. Cousin, step-cousin. Some of the videos he'd found and watched were violent, graphic, the kind of content that turns fantasy into obsession. Remember those 4,000 text messages? Now they look different. Every invitation to come over while Katrina was at work. Every offer to hide her in his basement. Every message about how other people thought they were dating. This wasn't cousin looking out for cousin. This was a predator grooming his prey. June 2023. Jalen Brazier answered his door to find police with a murder warrant. The prosecution's case was simple. Pornographic searches about cousins, 4,000 grooming texts, Google searches about garbage truck compactors, and a scratch on his collarbone he couldn't explain. The defense tried claiming Zion had seizures. Her own mother destroyed that lie with medical records. 30 minutes. That's all the jury needed. Guilty of second-degree murder. Guilty of tampering with evidence.
As to count 1, how do you find?
Guilty.
As to count 2, how do you find?
Guilty.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, please raise your right hand.
I know that the picture's already painted, of course, and once we get to having it right, it is what it is, you do what you do. But Zion was not in any way violent. He wasn't hurt at all. I never said that I never wanted to apologize, but I never tried to apologize. That's not true. What I said is I know that my apologies were nothing because you can't change her. But what I did.
The sentence, 30 to 90 years plus 5 to 10, consecutive. Sierra Milton finally had her answer. She was loved. She is loved. She was fought for, and this is the result.
And when it was read, and it was just so matter of fact, I was so happy they saw. She was loved. She is loved. She was fought for, and this is the result. So I'm happy that in the end, this is just.
Zion Foster's body has never been found. 70 volunteers spent 6 months combing through mountains of trash, breathing in the stench of decay, hoping to bring a teenage girl home. They found nothing. Somewhere in a Michigan landfill, crushed by the force of a garbage truck compactor, exactly what Jalen Googled about, lies a 17-year-old girl who trusted the wrong family member. Her phone is there too, forever stuck on that last message. OMW. On my way home. Family should be a refuge, but even the closest ties can fracture. Stay alert, look out for one another, and reach out if you sense danger. See you in the next story here on Fatal Family Network. Thanks for watching.